Hey everybody, I have a Maggie Holmes Monday video for you today, but on a Tuesday. So I have a heritage photo and I have these beautiful layered rose die cuts that I created from Altenew. I die cut them to kind of match and go with this collection, and we're going to use those today for sure. And then I have my round trip collection here. So this collection is separated out. It's not in my Maggie Holmes stash. And I want to use up a bunch of the scraps and some more of these puffy stickers. And my goal is to be able to kind of create this layout, use a lot of the scraps and the puffy stickers, and then put this collection into and mix it in with my big container of Maggie Holmes stash. That's the plan. So I am going to go ahead and kind of pick through this collection to start out with, and I'm going to pull all of the scraps out. I also have like some cut apart sheets, and I'm going to pull some cut apart pieces from the sheets and just kind of use as many of the scraps and little pieces as I can. And that way I can put the larger pieces in with the rest of my Maggie Holmes collections and mix them up together for future videos. Once I have gone ahead and kind of decided on a plan, I'm gonna cut apart the pieces I want from these cut apart sheets. You can see I have all of those pattern paper scraps right there, tons of scraps that I can use. And this layout is going to have all the colors. So I am going to lean in and just use all the colors, all the patterns from this line to create my layout with. And the very best way to do that is with paper strips. So I'm taking these scraps and I am cutting 1-inch strips from them. I am not going to cut them lengthwise, just widthwise. And I'm going to go through all of these patterns and I'm just going to cut 1-inch strips until I have 12. Till I have 12 1-inch strips, and then I will have enough to create my layout with. Anything that is small, so if I cut this 1-inch strip and I just have a teeny tiny little bit left, I'm going to toss it. I again have this goal. If I have these teeny tiny little strips, I'm not going to use them, or they're going to get lost when I mix them in with the rest of my stash. So I'm just keeping I'm just going to end up with large scraps, and those can be put in with the rest of my Maggie Holmes papers and embellishments. Because I have all of this pattern, we're gonna have all the colors, all the pattern. I wanted to map my photo with something a little bit calmer, so I did pull in a brand new, I am gonna cut into an uncut into sheet of 6x8 paper in this pretty wood grain, just because I want to make sure my photo stands out and doesn't get lost in all the pattern we're gonna put behind it. Next, I'm gonna grab the scraps, all the scraps, every one of these scraps. These are 1-inch strips. They vary in length, and that's okay. I am going to line them all up down the right side of the page. Now, I like to have my first strip and my last strip be the same pattern. You wouldn't need to do that at all. You could do it all different patterns. But I'm really, that's just my personal preference. And I'm going to stagger these so that none of them line up with each other. And I'm also kind of making sure that, like, if I have a pattern that's really blue and then I have another pattern that's really blue, that there is some different multicolored patterns in between those two blue patterns. So I'm starting this pattern and ending the pattern with the gingham. And now I'm just going to take my scissors, I'm going to trim off everything, and then I am going to throw these scraps away, because you know what? These patterns have given their all. These papers have given their all. I am not going to fret about these teeny tiny little pieces that all that they will do is they will end up falling into the bottom of the container I keep my Maggie Holmes stash in, and then they will never get used for anything. Repeat after me. It's just paper. It's just paper. It's all right. I have used and used the 90% of these sheets of paper. It is a-okay. So continuing with wanting to make my photo the star of the show, I'm going to pop it up on some foam tape, and then I'm going to take this little scrap of paper and I'm going to put it up in the upper left-hand corner of my background paper. So my plan is that area will be designated for journaling. I'm going to add a journaling block right there. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get the backing paper off of the foam tape, and I'm going to place my photo where I would like it. Okay, so now I want to work on my title, and really want to use up these puffy stickers. I want to get as many of them used up because I know that these are an embellishment that I tend to purchase, set aside, not use, and then years later they don't stick anymore. So I kind of knew going in, all right, definitely need to kind of continue to use up. I've actually managed to use up quite a bit of these, and I'm super happy about that. So I'm going to choose these two words, and I'm going to title my page Lovely Together, because this is a photo of my grandmother and her siblings. And so I thought that that would work really well for the title. Next, I really love these black photo frames that are on this puffy sticker sheet. And I decide that, you know what, let's use them. Part of my title is in black, so I'm going to have to add some more pops of black to this particular layout. And so let's do it. Let's add these black frames. And what I'm going to decide to do is I'm going to kind of back them. You'll see as I go through here, I'm going to back them with lots of layers and some of these pattern paper clusters and create almost like little vignettes inside of them for my embellishments. I'm going to use this tag, and I'm going to punch a hole in it so that I can go ahead and create an area for journaling right up there. And then I'm going to go ahead and kind of line up some embellishments down the right side. I'm going to kind of play around with some of the embellishments to decide which ones I want to use. So I will leave a link down below to these beautiful layered rose die cuts from Altenew. They are fabulous. I know a lot of people often ask, what die cuts do I need? What die cuts should I use? Things like that. And I think that these are a really good staple die cut, metal die cuts for scrapbookers. You can make them in any color you'd like to match any page or any line that you'd like. The leaves and flowers are die cut separately, and they have beautiful detailed layers. They're easy to put together, but they also provide like a really pretty layered kind of punch to a page, and they're really good size too. So these would definitely be a set of die cuts that I would highly recommend if you are wanting to start to create your own embellishments and have some really good versatile dies in your stash to be able to do that. So you can see here how I'm going to just go through all of these things I've set aside. I decide that the rest of these are going to go back into my stash or back into the collection and into my Maggie Holmes stash, and that this is the basic cluster. The only thing I want to do now is to each of these little clusters, I really want to add one of these doilies. These doilies are actually from Bow Bunny. I purchased them from a Cherry on Top with my round trip collection. So they've been sitting in the round trip collection because they do match that perfectly. I'm going to take these doilies now and I'm going to move them into my papery collection because they also match that really beautiful like minty green that's in the papery collection. and try to use up some more of them. But to each of these clusters, I'm going to add a doily for more layers. I want layers. That was my goal for these. I want these clusters to be really layered and colorful. I wanted to show you how you can take a black and white heritage photo and you don't have to be afraid of color. You don't have to go with the really dark, kind of typical, very muted heritage-y colors. You can do bright and bold, and I think that the way that you do that is by being careful with your icons and adding elements like doilies and florals, because that keeps it from looking too modern, that keeps it from looking too current, too trendy, and it kind of gives it that timeless heritage feel without being kind of dark or dingy looking. And if you have ever, if you've ever done a vintage layout or a heritage project, you kind of know what I'm talking about. We tend to want to stick with those browns and beiges, and those are beautiful for some photos, and sometimes that's exactly what you want. But sometimes, like when you are scrapbooking a photo of 4 kids all together, you want a little more color and a little more pizzazz to your page. And so my advice for doing that is to make your use timeless, kind of vintagey icons, adding textures like doilies. Those little kind of vintage looking frames that were part of that puffy sticker kit are perfect for this because they have that vintage look to them, but they also are a little bit, they add that pop of black. So I'm just continuing here. I am going through each of my clusters, adding a little bit of those pretty minty doilies to each section. And I'm going to go ahead and add some staples to the top of my tag where my journaling is going to be, simply because I was not in the mood. I don't like naked tags. I don't like naked holes on the tops of my tags, but I also wasn't in the mood to pull out my hemp twine and go through all of that. So for me, a nice easy way to fill the hole in a tag is to use a staple. So we're pretty much done here. I am going to go ahead. I think I add like one more of those little puffy hearts. I am super happy with how this layout turned out. I think it's gorgeous. I am also super happy with the fact that I got more of those puffy stickers used up, and I was able to use the bulk of the scraps that were in my round trip collection. And now my round trip collection from Maggie Holmes is ready to go into my iris container and to be mixed in with the rest of my Maggie Holmes stash. And we'll go ahead and pull from that box next 2 weeks, I think, for our second Maggie Holmes Monday. That will hopefully be on Monday and not on Tuesday in January. This will be a double feature video project day for you guys today, because I have another one featuring my How to Kill a Kit with Style for January popping up at 3 o'clock. And I hope you'll come by and take a peek at that one as well. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.